Hello everyone and welcome to Sally and Bytes. Today, I am here to teach Chapter 7, Lists in Python, Part 3, for the Class 11 students of Computer Science. In this video, we are going to discuss about built-in functions, manipulating lists, updating list, deletion operation, searching list, and practical implementation. So let's dive in and get started. In Python, there are several built-in functions like append, extend, insert, reverse, index, updating list like len, sort, sorted, clear, count, deletion operations like pop, del, and remove, and max and min. All these functions can alter the elements of the list rather than creating a new list, such as adding new elements, changing the elements in a list, and so on. Let's see one by one in detail. Let's learn about the append function. The append function is a built-in method in Python lists that allows you to add an element to the end of an existing list. It doesn't create a new list, rather it modifies the original list. The single element can also be a list. The syntax is list.append of item. Here, the item can be numbers, strings, another list, dictionary, etc. An item to be added at the end of the list, the parameter is mandatory and omitting it can give an error. The method doesn't return any value. Now, look at this picture. The list has already 4 elements. When we append or add the 5th element in the list, it modifies the original list by adding items or elements at the end of the list. Let's see some examples. Look at example 1. L1 equals 2, 4, 6, 8. A list L1 is created with initial elements 2, 4, 6, 8. Print the original list and print L1 prints the message the original list and the contents of L1 respectively. This displays the original list before any elements are appended. You can check the output 1 on the console as 2, 4, 6, 8. Example 2. L1.append of 10. The append function is used to add the element 10 to the end of L1. This modifies the list in place. Thus the print statement prints the list after appending 10. You can check the output 2 on the console as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Example 3. L1.append of computer. The append function is used again, this time to add the string computer to the end of L1. Thus the print statement prints the list after appending the string computer. The output 3 will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 computer. Example 4. L1.append of list 3, 5. The append function is used once more, this time to add a new list 3, 5 as a single element to the end of L1. The print statement prints the final list after appending list 3, 5. So the output will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 computer, list containing 3, 5. Let's see an example. Example 1. Write a Python program to find the second largest element in a list number. This Python program finds the second largest element in a list. I have divided this code into 6 parts, using white boxes. Now, look at the box number 1. Here, the user is prompted to enter the number of elements in the list, and the input is stored in the variable n. In the second box, while loop is used to get n inputs from the user and append or add them to the list number. Each input is converted to an integer using int of input function and stored in the variable number 1. The loop continues until I reaches n. In the third box, the original list is printed using for loop to iterate over the elements of number. The end equals empty space parameter is used to print the elements separated by a space instead of a new line. In the fourth box, 2 variables, m and m2, are initialized to the first 2 elements of the list number. If the first element is greater than the second element, m and m2 are assigned accordingly. Otherwise, they are assigned the second element and the first element, respectively. In the fifth box, for loop iterates over the elements of number starting from the third element, number of list 2 : If an element x is greater than m2, it is checked if it is also greater than m. If it is, then m2 is assigned x and the original value of m is assigned to m. If x is not greater than m, m2 is assigned x. Finally, in the sixth box, the second largest element, m2, is printed. You can check the output on the right side. User enters 5 elements 35, 74, 82, 49, 50. The second largest element in the list is 74. Now pause the video and work out by your own. Example 2. Write a Python program to add the even numbers in the list when certain numbers are given as input from the user. Now, look at the Python code. Line 1. An empty list L is initialized. Line 2. The user is prompted to enter the total number of values in the list, and the input is stored in the variable n. Next, look into the white box. While loop is used to iterate n times. In each iteration, the user is prompted to enter an element, and it is stored in the variable a. Inside the while loop, if condition is checked. If a is divisible by 2, that is, an even number, it is appended to the list L using the append method. The while loop continues until I reaches n. Finally, the final list L, containing only the even numbers entered by the user, is printed. You can check the output. User has entered 5 elements. 47, 82, 90, 56, and 29. So the even numbers displayed are 82, 90, and 56. The extend method adds one list at the end of another list. All items of a list are added at the end of an already created list. The syntax is list1.extend of list2. Here list1 is the primary list which will be executed. List2 is the list which will be added to list1. Let's see an example. Two lists are defined, L1 with elements 10, 20, 30, and L2 with elements 40, 50. The extend method is called on L1 and passed L2 as an argument. This method modifies L1 by appending the elements of L2 to the end of it. After executing this line, L1 will contain 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The modified list L1 is printed, resulting in the output 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Python list insert method inserts a given element or object at a given index in a list using Python. This function takes 2 arguments: the index where an item or object is to be inserted and the item or element itself. The syntax is list_name.insert of index_number, value. Here, list_name is the name of the list. Index_number is the index where the new value is to be inserted. Value is the new value to be inserted in the list. Let's see an example. Now, look at the Python code. Line 1. The list week_days is defined with the elements Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Line 2. The insert method is called on the week_days list. It takes 2 arguments, the index at which the new element should be inserted, in this case, 2, and the element to be inserted, Wednesday. This line inserts Wednesday at index 2, shifting the existing elements to the right. After executing this line, the week_days list will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see Wednesday inserted in index 2 on the output. So the output displayed is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let's see some examples. Now, look at example 1. Line 1. The list L1 is defined with the elements 100, 200, 300, 400. Line 2. The insert method is called on L1 to insert the value 250 at index 2. This line modifies L1, and after executing this line, L1 will be 100, 200, 250, 300, 400. The modified L1 list is printed, resulting in the output 100, 200, 250, 300, 400. You can check the output 1 on the console. Example 2. The insert method is called again to insert the value 50 at index 0. This line modifies L1, and after executing this line, L1 will be 50, 100, 200, 250, 300, 400. The updated L1 list is printed, resulting in the output 50, 100, 200, 250, 300, 400. You can check the output 2 on the console. Example 3. The insert method is called once more to insert the value 450 at index 3. This line modifies L1, and after executing this line, L1 will be 50, 100, 200, 450, 250, 300, 400. The final modified L1 list is printed, resulting in the output 50, 100, 200, 450, 250, 300, 400, which is seen in output 3 on the console. Example 1. Write a Python program to read a list of elements. Input an element from the user that has to be inserted in the list. Also, input the position at which it is to be inserted. Apply a built-in function to insert the element at the desired position in the list. Now, look at the Python code. Line 1. An empty list L1 is initialized. The user is prompted to enter the number of elements to be entered in the list, and the input is stored in the variable n. Now, look at the white box. For loop is used to iterate n times. In each iteration, the user is prompted to enter an element, which is converted to an integer using int of input function. The element is then appended to the list L1 using the append method. After this loop, L1 will contain the entered elements. Line 7. The original list L1 is printed. Now look at the second white box. The user is prompted to enter the element to be inserted ELE, and the position at which it should be inserted the POS. The insert method is then called on L1 to insert ELE at index POS. This line modifies L1 by inserting the element at the specified position. Finally, the updated list L1 is printed, showing the new list with the inserted element at the specified position. Now, look at the output. The user has entered 5 elements: 10, 20, 40, 60, 80. The element to be inserted is 30. Position at which it is to be inserted is 2. Now, the new list is 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80. The reverse function in Python reverses the order of the elements in a list. This function reverses the item of the list. It replaces a new value in place of an item that already exists in the list, that is, it does not create a new list. The syntax is list.reverse function. There are no parameters. The reverse method does not return any value, but reverses the given object from the list. Let's see some examples. Example 1. Now, look at the Python code. Line 1. The list L1 is defined with the elements 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Line 2. The reverse method is called on L1 to reverse the order of its elements. After executing this line, L1 will be 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. The reversed L1 list is printed, resulting in the output 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, which can be seen on the output 1 on the console. Example 2. The list month is defined with the elements January, February, March, April. The reverse method is called on month to reverse the order of its elements. After executing this line, month will be April, March, February, January. The reversed month list is printed, resulting in the output April, March, February, January, which can be seen on the output 2 in the console. In both cases, the reverse method modifies the list in place and reverses the order of its elements. The index function in Python returns the index of first matched item from the list. It returns the first occurrence of an item for which the index position is to be searched in the list. If the element is not present, value error is generated. The syntax is list.index of item. Let's see some examples. Example 1. Now, look at the Python code. The list L1 is defined with the elements 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. The index method is called on L1 with the argument 15 to find the index of the element 15 in the list. The index method returns the index of the first occurrence of the specified element. In this case, 15 is located at index 2, so the output of this line will be 2. Example 2. The string s is defined as computer. The index method is called on the string s with the argument t to find the index of the first occurrence of the letter t. In the string computer, t is located at index 5, so the output of this line will be 5. Example 3. The list x is defined with the elements in a list, fundamentals, of Python. The index method is called on x with the argument fundamentals to find the index of the first occurrence of the element fundamentals in the list. Since fundamentals is the first element in the list, it is located at index 0, so the output of this line will be 0. In all cases, the index method is used to find the index of a specific element. It returns the index of the first occurrence of the element if it exists in the list or string. Let's learn about updating a list. Lists are mutable. We can assign new value to existing value. We can use assignment operator =, to change an item or a range of items. The syntax is list of index equal to new value. Let's see some examples. Example 1. Now, look at the Python code. In this code, L1 is a list with elements 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. By accessing L1 of 1 and assigning a new value of 25 to it, we modify the second element of the list. When we print L1, we see the updated list where the second element has been changed from 20 to 25. So the output is 10, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. Example 2. L1 is again a list with elements 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. By using the slice notation L1 of 1:4, we create a new list L2 that contains elements from index 1, inclusive, up to index 4, exclusive, of L1. Therefore, L2 becomes 20 and 30, 40, and when you print it, you see that list 20 and 30, 40 on the console. Example 3. L1 is a list with elements red, blue, green. By accessing L1 of 2 and assigning a new value of yellow to it, we modify the third element of the list. When we print L1, we see the updated list where the third element has been changed from green to yellow. It's important to keep in mind that Python uses zero-based indexing, meaning the first element of a list has an index of 0, the second element has an index of 1, and so on. Python len function is an inbuilt function in Python. The len function returns the length of the list, that is, the number of elements in a list. It returns the integer value, which indicates the length of an object. Let's see some examples. Example 1. The len function in Python returns the number of elements in a list. In the given code, len of list1 will return 4 because there are 4 elements in list1. Example 2. Similarly, len of list2 will return 6 because list2 has 6 elements. The sort function can be used to sort the list in both ascending and descending order. It can be used to sort lists of integers, floating point numbers, strings, and others. This modifications is done in place, that is, it does not create a new list. The syntax is list.sort function. The sort does not return anything but alters the original list according to the passed parameter. Let's see about sorting list in ascending order. By default, the sort in Python sorts a list in ascending order if we do not provide it with any parameters. Let's see some examples. Example 1. The list 100, 300, 400, 200 is assigned to the variable numbers. The sort method is called on the numbers list, which sorts the elements in ascending order. After sorting, the list prints 100, 200, 300, 400. Example 2. The list 4.11, 5.00, 3.67, 2.28, 1.68 is assigned to the variable decimal number. The sort method is called on the decimal number list, which sorts the elements in ascending order. After sorting, the list prints 1.68, 2.28, 3.67, 4.11, 5.0. Example 3. The list peach, apple, strawberry is assigned to the variable words. The sort method is called on the words list, which sorts the elements alphabetically in ascending order. After sorting, the list prints apple, peach, strawberry. In all three cases, the sort method modifies the original list in place and arranges the elements according to the sorting criteria for the specific data type. Let's learn about the sorting list in descending order. To sort a list in descending order, set the reverse parameter to true of the sort function in Python. The syntax is list1.sort of reverse equals true. Let's see some examples. Example 1. The list 10, 30, 40, 20 is assigned to the variable numbers. The sort of reverse equals true method is called on the numbers list, which sorts the elements in descending order. After sorting, the list prints 40, 30, 20, 10. Example 2. The list 4.01, 5.00, 2.67, 3.28, 1.68 is assigned to the variable decimal number. The sort of reverse equals true method is called on the decimal number list, which sorts the elements in descending order. After sorting, the list prints 5.0, 4.01, 3.28, 2.67, 1.68. Example 3. The list system, analysis, design is assigned to the variable words. The sort of reverse equals true method is called on the words list, which sorts the elements in descending order alphabetically. After sorting, the list prints system, design, analysis. In all three cases, the sort of reverse equals true method modifies the original list in place and arranges the elements in descending order based on the sorting criteria for the specific data type. Python sorted function returns a sorted list from the iterable object. This function also sorts the items of the list like sort function. The syntax is sorted of list, reverse equals true or false. List is the sequence that needs to be sorted. Reverse is optional. If true, then the iterable would be sorted in reverse, descending, order. By default it is set as false. It returns a list with elements in sorted order. Let's see some examples. Look at line 1. Here, a list named X is defined with 4 elements, 20, 60, 10, and 40. Line 2 prints the string original list given, followed by the elements of the list X. It will output original list given 20, 60, 10, 40. Line 3. This line sorts the elements of the list X in ascending order using the sorted function. The sorted list is then printed. It will output sorted list returned 10, 20, 40, 60. Line 4. Here, the sorted function is used with the reverse equals true argument. This sorts the elements of the list X in descending order. The reversed sorted list is then printed. It will output reverse sort 60, 40, 20, 10. Line 5. This line also uses the sorted function, but with the reverse equals false argument. This sorts the elements of the list X in ascending order, similar to the first print statement. The sorted list is then printed. It will output, using reverse equals false, returns the sorted list, 10, 20, 40, 60. Hence, the sorted function in Python is used to sort a list in both ascending and descending order. The clear method removes all items from the list. This method doesn't take any parameters. The clear method only empties the given list. It doesn't return any value. The syntax is list.clear function. The clear method doesn't take any parameters. The list clear method doesn't return any value. Let's see some examples. Example 1. Here, the list1 is defined with 4 elements, 25, 35, 45, and 55. The second line prints the string list before clear, followed by the elements of list1. It will output list before clear, 25, 35, 45, 55. Example 2. The clear method is called on list1, which removes all the elements from the list, making it an empty list. The second line prints the string list after clear, followed by the elements of list1, which is now an empty list. It will output list after clear, empty list. Python list count method returns the count of how many times a given object occurs in a list using Python. The syntax is list.countOfElement. Parameters. Element is the item whose count is to be returned. It returns the count of how many times object occurs in the list. Let's see some examples. Example 1. In this example, a list named list1 is defined with several elements. The count method is then called on list1 with the argument p. This method counts the number of occurrences of the specified element, p, in the list and returns the count. In this case, the letter p appears 4 times in list1. Therefore, the output will be 4. Example 2. In this example, a list named list1 is defined with various elements, including sublists and other data types. The first count method call counts the number of times the sublist, 1, 2, appears in list1. In this case, the sublist, 1, 2, appears 3 times in list1. Therefore, the output will be 3. Example 3. The second count method call counts the number of times the value 100 appears in list1. Since the value 100 is not present in list1, the method returns 0. Therefore, the output will be 0. Python provides operator for deleting or removing an item from a list. We are going to discuss about pop, del, and remove method. First method is the pop method. Python list pop is an inbuilt function in Python that removes and returns the last value from the list or the given index value. The syntax is list.popOfIndex. Index is optional. The value at index is popped out and removed. If the index is not given, then the last element is popped out and removed. It returns the last value or the given index value from the list. Exception. Raises indexer when the index is out of range. Let's see some examples. Example 1. List1 equals 10, 20, 30, 40. This line initializes a list called list1 with 4 elements, 10, 20, 30, and 40. In the second line, the pop method is called on list1 with no index value provided. Since no index is specified, the pop method by default removes and returns the last element from the list. In this case, the last element is 40. The print statement displays popped element 40. You can check the output on the console. After popping the last element from list1, the next line prints the remaining elements of list 1. The output will be list after pop method 10, 20, 30. You can check the output 1 displayed. Now look at example 2. List 2 equals 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. A new list called list 2 is initialized with 5 elements, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. In the second line, the pop method is called on list 2 with an index value of 2. This means the element at index 2, which is 6, will be removed and returned. The print statement displays popped element 6. You can check the output 2 on the console. After popping the element at index 2 from list 2, the next line prints the remaining elements of list 2. The output will be list after pop 2 is 2, 4, 8, 10. You can check the output 2 on the console. Example 3. List 1 equals 5, 10, 15, 20. The variable list 1 is reassigned with a new list containing 4 elements, 5, 10, 15, and 20. In the second line, the pop method is called on list 1 with a negative index value of -1. Negative index values count from the end of the list, so -1 refers to the last element. The last element of list 1 is 20, and it will be removed and returned by pop method. The print statement displays popped element 20. After popping the last element from list 1, this line prints the remaining elements of list 1. The output will be list after pop of -1 is 5, 10, 15. You can check the output 3 on the console. Del statement removes the specified element from the list but does not return the deleted value. Let's see some examples. Example 1. L1 equals 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This line initializes a list called L1 with 5 elements, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. The second line, in del L1 of 3, the del statement is used to delete an element from a list based on the provided index. In this case, it deletes the element at index 3, which is 40, from L1. After deletion, the updated L1 list will be printed as 10, 20, 30, 50. You can check the output on the console. Example 2. L2 equals 5, 10, 15, 20. A new list called L2 is initialized with 4 elements, 5, 10, 15, and 20. In the second line, in del L2 of -2, the del statement is used to delete an element from a list based on the provided index. In this case, it deletes the element at index -2, which refers to the second to last element, 15, from L2. After deletion, the updated L2 list will be printed as 5, 10, 20. Example 3. Del with slicing is done here. L3 equals 20, 40, 60, 80. This line initializes a list called L3 with 4 elements, 20, 40, 60, and 80. In the second line, in del L3 of 1:3, the del statement is used to delete a slice of elements from a list. In this case, it deletes the elements at indices 1 and 2, excluding index 3, from L3. After deletion, the updated L3 list will be printed as 20, 80. You can check the output 3 on the console. Example 4. L4 equals 20, 40, 60, 80. The variable L4 is assigned a new list containing 4 elements, 20, 40, 60, and 80. In the second line, in del L4 of 6, the del statement is used to delete an element from a list based on the provided index. In this case, it attempts to delete the element at index 6 from L4. However, since L4 has only 4 elements, indices 0 to 3, index 6 is out of range. Therefore, this line will result in an error. Since an error occurs in the previous line, the program will terminate and won't execute the line print, L4. The remove function is used when we know the element to be deleted, not the index of the element. The syntax is list.remove of element. Here, element is the element to be removed from the list. This method does not return any value but removes the given object from the list. Exception. If the element doesn't exist, it throws value error. Remove method removes the first occurrence of the object from the list. Let's see some examples. Example 1. This line initializes a list called list1 with 7 elements, 5, 10, 25, 15, 20, 25, and 30. In the second line, the remove method is called on list1 to remove the first occurrence of the value 25. Since 25 appears twice in list1, only the first occurrence will be removed. After removal, the updated list1 printed is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Example 2. A new list called list2 is initialized with 7 elements, Q, W, E, S, R, T, and Y. In the second line, the remove method is called on list2 to remove the first occurrence of the value S. After removal, the updated list2 printed is Q, W, E, R, T, Y. You can check the output on the console. Example 1. Write a Python program to delete all odd numbers and negative numbers from a given numeric list. Now, look at the code. Line 1. List1 equals 8 minus 3, 2 minus 4 minus 6, 7, 0, minus 1, 5, 9. This line initializes a list called list1 with 10 elements. Line 2. len1 equals len of list1. The variable len1 is assigned the length of list1, which is the number of elements in the list. Line 3. I equals 0. The variable I is initialized to 0. It will be used as an index to iterate over the elements of list1. Line 4. While I less than len1. This line starts a while loop that continues as long as I is less than len1. Line 5. Inside the while loop, the code checks 2 conditions using an if-elif structure. First condition. If list1 of I less than 0. This condition checks if the element at index I in list1 is less than 0. If this condition is true, it means the element is negative. So it goes to line 6, del list1 of I. The del statement is used to delete the element at index I from list1. Line 7, len1 equals len1 minus 1. Since an element is removed from the list, the length of list1 is decrement by 1. Line 8, I equals I minus 1. The index I is decrement by 1 to account for the shifted indices after the deletion. Second condition checked in line 9. Elif of list1 of I mod 2 is not equal to 0. This condition checks if the element at index I in list1 is odd. If this condition is true, it means the element is not even. Line 10, del list1 of I. The del statement is used to delete the element at index I from list1. Line 11, len1 equals len1 minus 1. Since an element is removed from the list, the length of list1 is decrement by 1. Line 12. I equals I minus 1. The index I is decrement by 1 to account for the shifted indices after the deletion. Line 13. I equals I plus 1. At the end of each iteration of the while loop, the index I is incremented by 1 to move to the next element in list1. Once the while loop finishes, the code moves to the next line outside the loop. Finally, it prints the updated list1 after all the elements that are negative or odd have been removed. The output is 8, 2, 0. Lists can easily be searched for values using the index method that expects a value that is to be searched. The output is the index at which the value is kept. The syntax is list.index of element. Let's see some examples. Example 1. L1 equals 10, 20, SAM, 400, software, 500, this line initializes a list called L1 with 6 elements of different types. In the second line, the index method is called on L1 to find the index of the first occurrence of the value 20. The returned index value is assigned to the variable s. In this case, the value 20 is at index 1, so s will be assigned the value 1. The next line prints the value of s, which is the index of 20 in L1. You can check the output 1 on the console. Example 2. S equals L1.index of software. The index method is called on L1 to find the index of the first occurrence of the value software. The returned index value is assigned to the variable s. In this case, the value software is at index 4, so s will be assigned the value 4. The next line prints the value of s, which is the index of software in L1. You can check the output on the console. Example 3. S equals 500 in L1. This line checks if the value 500 is present in L1 using the in operator. The result of this check, either true or false, is assigned to the variable s. In this case, 500 is present in L1, so s will be assigned the value true. The next line prints the value of s, which indicates whether 500 is present in L1 or not. The output will be true. Check the output on the console. Example 4. S equals L1.index of 600. The index method is called on L1 to find the index of the first occurrence of the value 600. However, 600 is not present in L1, so this line will raise a value error with the message 600 is not in list. Since an error occurs in the previous line, the program will terminate and won't execute the line print of s. Python list max function returns the maximum value present in the list. To use max function, all values in the list must be of the same type. The syntax is max of listname. Here, listname is the name of list in which we have to find the maximum value. It returns the maximum value present in the list. Let's see some examples. Example 1. Look at the Python code. L1 equals 4 minus 4, 8, minus 9, 1. This line initializes a list called L1 with 5 integers. The next line, max value equals max of L1. The max function is called on L1 to find the maximum value in the list. The maximum value is assigned to the variable max value. In this case, the maximum value in L1 is 8, so max value will be assigned the value 8. The next line prints the value of max value, which is the maximum value in L1. The output will be 8 displayed on the console. Example 2. List 1 equals uppercase B, lowercase e, uppercase e. This line initializes a list called list1 with 4 strings. The second line, max value equals max of list1. The max function is called on list1 to find the maximum value in the list. Since the elements of list1 are strings, the maximum value is determined based on the ASCII code values, lexicographic order, that is, alphabetical order. In this case, the maximum value in list1 is lowercase e, which holds the ASCII value 101. Thus, it prints the output as lowercase e, which is displayed on the console. Python min function returns the element with the minimum value from the list. To use the min function, all values in the list must be of the same type. The syntax is min of list name. List name is the name of list in which we have to find the minimum value. It returns the minimum value present in the list. Let's see some examples. Example 1. L1 equals 4 minus 4, 8, minus 9, 1. This line initializes a list called L1 with 5 integers. The second line, min value equals min of L1. The min function is called on L1 to find the minimum value in the list. The minimum value is assigned to the variable min value. In this case, the minimum value in L1 is -9, hence, it prints the value of min value as -9. You can check the output on the console. Example 2, list 1 equals, uppercase B, $, lowercase e, uppercase e. This line initializes a list called list1 with 4 strings. In the second line, the min function is called on list1 to find the minimum value in the list. Since the elements of list1 are strings, the minimum value is determined based on the ASCII code values, lexicographic order, that is alphabetical order. In this case, the minimum value in list1 is $, so it prints the value of min value as $. Example 3, list 1 equals, Mac, Mark, Mary, Malvin. This line initializes a list called list1 with 4 strings. The second line, min value equals min of list1, the min function is called on list1 to find the minimum value in the list. Since the elements of list1 are strings, the minimum value is determined based on the ASCII code values, lexicographic order, that is, alphabetical order. The min function compares the strings element by element until a difference is found. In this case, Mac comes first alphabetically compared to Mark, Mary, and Malvin. Therefore, Mac will be considered the minimum value in the list and prints the value of min value as Mac. Thanks for watching. Watch the upcoming videos. Chapter 7, Lists in Python, Part 4. Sorting, bubble sort, insertion sort and practical implementation. You can check the link in the description box below.